The issue of farming in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in fact, in the region and throughout the world, is one that not only journalists have to get involved in, but lawyers, doctors, farmers, housewives, children. It is essential that each person gets connected to farming at some level, planting your own fruit and vegetables within reach so that we can feed ourselves.
I have my bachelor's in geography and environmental studies. I obtained that in New York at SUNY New Paltz. And then following my degree, I interned for the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and that was about 4 months, and then I was hired as an employee there for 1 year. So I worked in conservation for 1 year doing environmental work. My goal was mainly to teach the children about agriculture, nutrition, and the environment, and also to provide them with fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh produce. Try to deter them away from chips and cookies and so many processed foods. Well, when I first came here, I became friends with a girl named Kelly, Kelly Smart, and she knew Joy Lampkin, and she introduced me to Joy. And Joy was a great help. I was looking for volunteer work, and at that point I had nothing lined up, but I was looking around St. Vincent for some kind of volunteer work for the next 6 months at least. So she introduced me to Joy, and then Joy worked with me to develop an internship.
And how long have you been doing this internship?
For 7 months.
And over that 7 months, what have you discovered about food and nutrition and the level of participation of Vincentians in getting to know about the food and nutrition that they consume? What is your general take on that?
I see a lot of potential and a lot of more education that needs to be done, because I think that there is too much consumption of processed foods and chips, cookies, sugars, sweets, things like that. And I do see some health issues here, so it could definitely be useful to promote more healthy eating. Usually Mondays I work on the farm, and I get up very early, around 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I get on the farm by 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I work through the morning. I do little things like weeding. I've done bigger things like help to build an irrigation system that starts from the top of the hill all the way down to the bottom of the hill. It's gravity fed. A water collection system, I'm sorry. And I've done picking guavas, planting, we made mango vinegar, and just basic things around the farm. So that's my day at the farm. On Tuesdays, I come to the school and I teach the children about the environment or agriculture and nutrition, whatever I decide to do the lesson plan on. And then throughout the week, we work in the garden. We do weeding, planting, picking, and reaping the produce. This is my passion. So I've always loved the environment, and I've always loved agriculture. I worked on a farm for 7 years, and I grew up across the street from a farm. So that's my passion. That's what I love to do. How it benefits me career-wise, it gives me a solid experience working with children and working with agriculture in a different country, in a completely new environment. So it helps me a lot to obtain a job if I go back to the States. And I actually just got a job because of this experience. So I'll be doing the Americorps. It's a federally funded program by the United States government. So they do different programs. This one is specifically to fight poverty. So it's called Americorps Vista, and what I'll be doing is working with doctors and community health organizations to promote like child health, nutrition, obesity prevention, things like that. So it's community work. There's definitely a wealth of opportunities here in agriculture, especially compared to where I come from. There's a very short growing season and the soil isn't always so great. So St. Vincent is a really beautiful place to do agriculture because the soil is so rich and it's so fertile because of the volcano. And the growing season is year-round. You can always grow something. So there's a lot of potential for agriculture here. potential to export, or even just within St. Vincent and the Grenadines to promote more selling of produce.
Tell me more about the camp.
Okay, so we did lots of different things. I focused on biodiversity, wildlife, conservation, pollution, climate change. Those are the environmental aspects of it. And then I did the basics of agriculture and gardening. So we worked in the gardens doing planting and reaping. We learned about the basics, what makes the seed grow, what does it need to grow, sunlight and water. And then I also taught about nutrition, because that was a very important part of my work here. What nutrients are in what foods, what vitamins you can get from mangoes and tomatoes, carrots, pumpkins, and why it's important to have these vitamins in your body, how it makes you healthy, and it prevents illness further down the line. I had a 4th grade class of 13 students. So now they're in 5th grade, and the club will actually continue on. It is sustainable. I worked with Mr. Rudolph Chambers, and he is taking over the club. He worked with me throughout the 7 months, and now he's going to continue the club after I leave.
And what was the response of the children to the camp?
They really liked it. They were very enthusiastic. They were excited when I'd come, and they were great. Yeah.
And do you think we have some future farmers coming out of that, or at least those interested in food and nutrition?
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Okay. And how can we encourage children, other than camps? How can parents encourage their children? How can teachers and adults encourage their children, or our children generally, to be more mindful of food and nutrition?
Well, first by just putting it in their hands. For us, it was great because they had carrots and cucumbers. They grew it all here, and they were able to pick it, and then we gave it to the kitchen, and then it was cooked in their meals. So just providing it, period, is great. And then also teaching children why it's important for them to eat it and maintaining these healthy behaviors. It's good to start very early so kids can continue these habits throughout their lives. It builds a good foundation. The best of luck to all the farmers and all the parents and the children here, for sure. It's a beautiful country, and there's so much going on with agriculture right now, and there's so much potential for even more to grow. So I'd be excited to see what happens a few years down the line.